44 BC, ancient Rome is at a turning point. It's moving quickly from a republic governed by representatives of the people to a dictatorship, with ruler Julius Caesar consolidating power and governing like a king. The Roman Senate sees its power diminished. A majority of senators despise Caesar's regime and remain faithful to the republic. Two senators, Brutus and Cassius, lead a conspiracy to assassinate Julius Caesar and restore the republic. Caesar's right-hand man, Mark Antony, learns of the plot and tries to intervene, but is blocked by the conspirators. On that day, the 15th of March, 44 BC, in the Senate portico, Brutus, Cassius and their fellow conspirators surround Caesar and brutally stab him to death. By the time Mark Antony arrives, it's too late. As the second most powerful man in Rome, Antony has good reason to fear for his life. Antony had been Caesar's protege, friend, and closest political ally. In a single day, his world, and Rome's future, are altered forever. The assassination causes civil unrest in a city divided between Caesar's enemies and his supporters. Caesar had been popular among the common people. Many Romans believe a god has been murdered. A bloodbath seems imminent. While grieving for Caesar, Mark Antony learns that the conspirators had no plan for governing Rome. There's a power vacuum that a shrewd politician might fill. Antony calls an emergency meeting of the Senate. He makes a stirring plea for reconciliation and lays down a warning.
Seditiones populus Romanus facturus est. Murmurat enim minaque iactat multitudo, que etiam vos atque domos vestras, cognatosque familiasque pugnare potest. Equidem nullum aliud consilium nisi mali vestri impediendit ineo. Caveto vero plebem dolentem, que subito patrem perdiderit, atquad arma capienda paratissima essit. Ile cie tanta beneficia dederat iam oxissus est. Et ciam vobis aut perfugium querre, aut morte timere necesse est. Vobis rustice ville sunt, quasiam vos guerre utile sint. Ego te brutte bene novi, nec dubitoque pro virtute in qua tibi nihil sit optatius libertatem. Ita egeris und hang vindicare, nec vab illo abhorrere volueris. Itaque sentio senatu consultum fiat, ut et omnibus coniurationis principibus venia atque impunitas detur. Et omnia acta Caesaris rata sint.
It's a clever strategy on Antony's part, meant to diffuse tensions over Caesar's murder and make permanent the radical changes that Caesar brought to the Republic. He appeals to the senators' pragmatism, arguing that repealing Caesar's acts would result in financial ruin and a loss of credibility for Rome's leaders.
Equidem aperte loquor animum vestro appello, nisi omnia acta Caesaris rata erunt, omnes pleraque et magistratus perdemus. Quanam auctoritate sit ita sit, de republica, de civitate,
de populo romano statuatis. Rebriores indies conveniunt Caesari veterani, aquibus terras republice redendas esse. Cum abrogata iam sit ilius acta qui has dona verit, fis autem vestrum pallam is dicere audeat.
Antony has the senators in the palm of his hand, except for two, Brutus and Cassius. What they will do next is anyone's guess. Many Romans credit Mark Antony for restoring peace to a divided city. Filled with confidence, Antony calls for the reading of Julius Caesar's will.
Amici, implica legere.
Antony has good reason to be optimistic about the will. He had been Caesar's friend and protege, but the will contains a surprise.
Gaius Julius Caesar, sororis suae nepotem Gaium Octavium, heredem suum ex dodrante instituit. Praeterea, in imacera, Gaium Octavium etiam in familiam nomenque adoptat. Populo autem Romano, hortos suos circa Tiberim sitos publice legat.
Caesar's great-nephew Octavian may have inherited the ruler's estate, but Mark Antony believes that he is the rightful leader of Caesar's movement. Antony needs a chance to convince the people directly. Caesar's funeral provides the perfect opportunity to assert his power and stoke the people's passions about their murdered leader. Once again, his oratorical gifts are a potent weapon.
Quod Caesar privatus mortuus esset. Magnis orationibus non mihi opus esset. Sed quoniam et ille in summo imperio perit, et ego etiam consulantum gero. Nullas rescredicente sunt tacere debeo. Certer pater ille, canvis pontifex maximus, sacrosanctus, vir magnus, divus, tamen ab amicis, acivibus oxissus est, fam nullus hostis interficere potuerat. Quid opus fuit telenitate tua, o Caesar? Quid sacrosanctitate? Quid legibus? De crudelissime ab amicis oxissum esse. O dolorem, o cruorem a canno capillo stilantem. O laceratam togam, fam nulla ratione vestivisse videris, nisi ut in ea ferum reciperes. Periovem, Rome custodem, per celestes Deos, Iuro, Iusurandum do, me Caesaris mortem persecuturum esse.
Roused by Antony's speech, the crowd closes in on Caesar's funeral pyre. They set it on fire and throw personal belongings into the flames. Caesar is mourned as a martyred god. Antony has succeeded in rallying the people behind him. Seeing the people's wrath, Brutus and Cassius flee the city. Mark Antony is one step closer. Caesar's heir, Octavian, arrives in Rome. Octavian is only 19 years old, but he receives a greeting fit for a king.
Ecce Caius Julius Caesar Octavianus.
The young Octavian is inexperienced in politics, but he possesses natural charm and keen political instincts. Octavian sees Antony as a rival for the leadership of Rome. He uses his wealth to build political support and raise an army. Caesar's assassins have ambitions of their own. Brutus and Cassius regroup in the eastern part of the empire, Brutus taking control of Greece and Macedonia, Cassius establishing a base of operations in Syria. They raise armies of tens of thousands of men to defend their cause. Once conspirators, they now see themselves as liberators who will restore the Roman Republic in the name of the people.
Vigenti fidas legiones habemus, neque tributis collatis de pecunia.
Disgratias agamus, qui tantas terribilesque copias, pro iure ac republica nobis dederit.
Faced with a growing threat from the liberators, Antony and Octavian join forces. They form a triumvirate with Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, Caesar's top lieutenant. Under this, the second triumvirate to rule Rome, the three men agree to share power for 5 years. Avenging Caesar's murder would be the surest way of maintaining that power. The triumvirate moves quickly and brutally. They execute political opponents and seize the assets of wealthy Romans. Panic sweeps through the aristocracy, causing many of them to flee. From now on, Antony and Octavian would be known as the Caesarians. With their military forces strengthened, the Caesarians go in search of Brutus and Cassius across the Adriatic Sea towards Philippi in Greece. Antony's legions are the first to reach the liberators' stronghold, marching over 300 miles in 10 days. Mark Antony, Rome's greatest warrior, is ready to cross swords with the armies of Caesar's assassins on the plain of Philippi. After countless wars against foreigners, Romans will fight Romans, led by men with conflicting visions of Rome's future. Brutus and Cassius take up positions on high ground close to the town of Philippi. Brutus's camp is protected by dense forest and steep embankments, while Cassius's camp is bordered by a marsh that seems impassable. Antony sets up camp about a mile away on the desolate plain. The two liberators' camps sit on either side of the Via Egnatia, the only road that crosses the Eastern Roman Empire. Brutus and Cassius block the road with a rampart and a trench. The liberators also have a major strategic advantage: access to the nearby port of Neapolis. This will make it easier to resupply their troops. The Caesarians have no access to the water and no nearby towns.
The Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE was an all-Roman affair fought between the young Octavian, chosen heir of Julius Caesar, and the mercurial Mark Antony, widely regarded as the greatest living Roman general on the one side against Brutus and Cassius, the assassins of Caesar and champions of the Republican cause on the other. The battle, on an inland plain in eastern Macedonia near the city of Philippi, would involve the largest Roman armies to ever take the field, and, as 36 legions clashed, the bloody outcome would decide the future of the Roman Empire and finally bring to an end the 500-year-old Roman Republic. The battles around Mutina in April 43 BCE were as confused as the various conflicting accounts by ancient historians, but the end result was Antony was first victorious but then partially defeated. The Republicans won but lost both consuls, and Octavian was upset not to be given a triumph by the Senate and was alienated by their decision to give Sextus Pompey command of the navy. While Octavian manipulated politics in Rome, Antony strengthened his own position and now controlled Gaul and Spain. Octavian also made his decisive move in August 43 BCE and marched his 8 legions to Rome, where the 3 Republican legions promptly switched sides and Octavian became consul at the unprecedented young age of 20. His position was further strengthened when he was joined by 6 more ex-Republican legions. Octavian, now with 17 legions at his disposal, turned his full attention to Antony, who had 20 legions and 10,000 cavalry under his command. Even now though, diplomacy prevailed and the 3 leading Romans, Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, met in November 43 BCE to discuss terms and form the second triumvirate, where each member was given carte blanche power for 5 years in their respective zones of the empire. The legions were reshuffled so that Lepidus had 3 legions in Rome and Octavian and Antony each had 20. Vicious revenge was then taken on Republican supporters in Rome, and such notable figures as Cicero were executed. Meanwhile, Brutus collected his army in Upper Macedonia whilst Cassius amassed 12 legions in Judea. In 43 BCE the two joined forces at Smyrna. Then, after successful campaigns against Rhodes and Xanthus, the two took position at Philippi on the Hellespont in September 42 BCE. The third threat to Octavian and Antony was Sextus Pompey, whose large naval fleet had helped him take control of Sicily in December 43 BCE. Octavian, unable to overwhelm Sextus, instead heeded Antony's request to fight together against the larger threat of Brutus and Cassius. From Brundisium the two armies crossed the Adriatic. For the first time, the opposing legions were in close proximity and ready for battle.
Milites Romani, propagatur, ut Caesaris caedem, persequamur!
The Caesarians have been standing in formation every day for 3 weeks, waiting for this moment. The Romans believe in omens, especially when heading into battle. Through omens, the gods communicate with mortals. The eagle is a symbol of Jupiter, the most powerful god. On the day of battle, 2 eagles fight above the 2 opposing camps. The soldiers watch intently to see which one wins. The eagle closest to the Caesarian side prevails. A good omen for Antony and Octavian, a bad one for Brutus. Antony calls his troops to battle with his usual flair. According to the historian Appian, he says,
Milites Romani propagatur, ut Caesaris caedem, persequamur.
Soldiers of Rome, the enemy is before us. Those whom we have tried to draw out from behind their fortifications. Let none of you prefer untreatable and murderous hunger to enemy ramparts and bodies, attainable through courage, the sword, and despair. Our situation is so bad that nothing can be postponed until tomorrow. It is today that will be decided either complete victory or death with honor. This would be the final confrontation between the Caesarians and the liberators. The second battle on the Grecian plain of Philippi. In keeping with Roman military protocol, one of Brutus's top officers surrenders to the enemy, inviting the Caesarians to accept battle. Brutus, the reluctant general, speaks to his men.
Pugna mos copivistis, at pugna me coegistis, cum malio more vincere possim. Quae spes, et mea, et vestra, vobis non deicienda est! Cum superiora! Lobis noca sunt, tutaque terga! Tum in iniquo loco hostis, qui inter nos et famen intersit!
The two armies are finally ready to face off.
Legio expedita. In arbitra. Venus. Gladios. Segere. Pergere.
Antony, a master military strategist, has a plan. First, he would stretch out his right wing, forcing Brutus to do the same and weakening the center of his battle formation. Then, Antony would take advantage of the gap to send his cavalry into the heart of Brutus's camp. Finally, Antony's forces would surround Brutus's infantry using a pincer movement that would prove fatal to the enemy. Brutus makes headway into the Caesarian ranks, but his weakened centre can't hold much longer. He reminds his soldiers of the righteousness of their cause, the defence of the Republic.
Aut victoria mea, Romanis libertatem reddet, aut mors, mi servitute liberavit, cetera tuta securaque sunt nisi hoc. Utrum nos in libertate vituri ad morituri simus.
As the plain reddens with blood, the hope of victory increases the Caesarians further. The hand-to-hand combat is intense, each side fighting with the same weapons for every inch of ground. The historian Appian tells us, one side fights for survival rather than victory, the other for victory and to please a general whom they had forced to fight against his will. The carnage and the howls of the dying are atrocious. Antony's cavalry disperses Brutus's troops, preventing them from regrouping. Brutus's forces capitulate under Antony's pressure. To the Caesarians go the prerogatives of victory. For the losers, there is little mercy.
Miserere nobis Caesar! Poeniam petimus, non ne Romanis sumus? Filii juventutem inspice!
Quare gostibus supplicibus conquerere debeam. Aliquid tamen opportunum efficere possum. Tortibus consulemus uter integer sit. Diripite milites, ut promissum quam praedam meriti estis.
At the end of the second battle, Brutus, the losing general, flees to the surrounding hills. Antony's strategy has worked. By striking at Cassius first, he left the inexperienced Brutus ripe for defeat. "40,000 men have died at Philippi, making it the deadliest civil war in ancient history. Armed with the same weapons, speaking the same language, Romans fought against countrymen, friends, and even brothers. Like Cassius, Brutus takes his own life, preferring death as a free man to the humiliation of capture. Ancient historians say his dying words are, "O wretched virtue, thou wert but a name, and yet I worship thee as real indeed, but now it seems thou wert but fortune's slave." With Brutus, the last flames of the Roman Republic die out. His body is laid out before the victors.
Curam magna funera ili fiant. Cineres matridentur.
Quo non opus est, caput praecidite, Romam espaltate, quod victoriae nostrae testimonio sit.
Even on the heels of a great victory, the differences between Octavian's and Antony's personal ambitions are apparent. For now, though, Caesar is avenged and the Caesarians' power secured. The 500-year-old Roman Republic is all but a memory. Peace has been restored, at least for now.